we cannot legally live stream music. Tune in to IndieLive.radio for audio. This is IndieLive.radio. Unfortunately, we cannot legally live stream music. Tune in to IndieLive.radio for audio. This is IndieLive.radio. Unfortunately, we cannot legally live stream music. Tune in to IndieLive.radio for audio. This is IndieLive.radio. Unfortunately, we cannot legally live stream music. Tune in to IndieLive.radio for audio. This is IndieLive.radio. Unfortunately, we cannot legally live stream music. Tune in to IndieLive.radio for audio. This is IndieLive.radio. Unfortunately, we cannot legally live stream music. Tune in to IndieLive.radio for audio. This is IndieLive.radio. Unfortunately, we cannot legally live stream music. Tune in to IndieLive.radio for audio. This is IndieLive.radio. Unfortunately, we cannot legally live stream music. Tune in to IndieLive.radio for audio. This is IndieLive.radio. Unfortunately, we cannot legally live stream music. Tune in to IndieLive.radio for audio. This is IndieLive.radio. Unfortunately, we cannot legally live stream music. Tune in to IndieLive.radio for audio. This is IndieLive.radio. Unfortunately, we cannot legally live stream music. Tune in to IndieLive.radio for audio. This is IndieLive.radio. Unfortunately, we cannot legally live stream music. Tune in to IndieLive.radio for audio.
Yes, indeed. Welcome to Indie Live Radio with me, Norrie Hunter, right through till 2 o'clock. The time is now 11, and we'll be here all talking about the weekend's march in Aberdeen, where a grey granite Aberdeen was turned to a bright blue. Lovely stuff. There's also the news that freedom of movement is going to be abolished as soon as we get Brexit, the hard Brexit. How's that going to impact on our citizens from abroad? We'll be looking at that too. Do you fancy retiring at 75? Me neither, but that's what the Tories are proposing with this new think tank. Ian Duncan Smith doesn't think very much of that guy, but never mind. Kev's with me today. Morning, Kev.
Good morning.
So we'll get Kev's input to all this. It's been a while since me and you've been on together.
That's right, yeah, it's these blooming holidays.
Hi. So now it's back to normal, kind of. Me and Kev will be chewing the fat, getting some sense to these difficult questions. But first of all, the Uncertain Smile will be back after this.
It's a
It takes a wee bit of time getting going, this one, but once it's going, Kev, it goes. There we are.
This is IndieLive.radio. Unfortunately, we cannot legally live stream music. Tune in to IndieLive.radio for audio. This is IndieLive.radio. Unfortunately, we cannot legally live stream music. Tune in to IndieLive.radio for audio. This is IndieLive.radio. Unfortunately, we cannot legally live stream music. Tune in to IndieLive.radio for audio. This is IndieLive.radio. Unfortunately, we cannot legally live stream music. Tune in to IndieLive.radio for audio. This is IndieLive.radio. Unfortunately, we cannot legally live stream music. Tune in to IndieLive.radio for audio. This is IndieLive.radio. Unfortunately, we cannot legally live stream music. Tune in to IndieLive.radio for audio. This is IndieLive.radio. Unfortunately, we cannot legally live stream music. Tune in to IndieLive.radio for audio. This is IndieLive.radio. Unfortunately, we cannot legally live stream music. Tune in to IndieLive.radio for audio. This is IndieLive.radio. Unfortunately, we cannot legally live stream music. Tune in to IndieLive.radio for audio. This is IndieLive.radio. Unfortunately, we cannot legally live stream music. Tune in to IndieLive.radio for audio. This is IndieLive.radio. Unfortunately, we cannot legally live stream music. Tune in to IndieLive.radio for audio.
Well, that goes into a big, long piano solo. So just jettison that. There we go. And we're into some airtime. Me and you, Kev.
Yep.
Right. First things up. Saturday.
Yeah.
Aberdeen was just awash with saltires and fun.
Yeah.
Wasn't it just?
It was fantastic. And I was actually sitting in this office doing the simulcast live stream. So I was pulling in all the different live streams that are going on.
Yeah.
And so I was watching it, all the different cameras. It was great.
There was I can't remember her name, but she had short blonde hair and she was doing a camera. And I thought it was Fiona was doing it, but it wasn't Fiona. It was somebody else.
Was it Wendy?
It was Wendy. Aye.
It was Wendy. Yeah.
She was at the front, and honestly, the pictures were fabulous.
Yeah, they did a great job.
She was moving round. Everyone was a bit pensive at the start, waiting for the time to start. And the pipes just, the drums start and the pipes go, and then everybody's starting to move, and it's like a slow move until they get into their stride.
Yeah.
But the great thing is, I think, Kev, with these marches is all types of society are there. There's people in wheelchairs, infirm, rich, poor. There's doctors, professors walking in that march. You wouldn't know because they're all dressed up with saltires around.
That's right. It's right across society.
Right, the spectrum.
Everybody, young to old. It was Pat Lee caught a cracker, Norrie, right? He was doing a lot of interviewing, etc., as he does brilliantly. And no, it wasn't Pat. Sorry, it was Mike.
Mike Fennick.
It was Mike Fennick caught this one, and it was a little girl doing this kind of ballerina dancing.
I saw that.
Did you see that? I put it out a few times in the simulcast.
And he just kept the camera on her, and
it was fantastic.
It was
just
good.
That was such an amazing little scene that encapsulated so much.
Indeed, and it has to be said that there was a bit of. It wasn't hassle going past them, but you know they're always there. And why can't Kev? This is what I want to know. Why don't they do their own march somewhere?
Well, it's a democratic country. They've got every right to be there protesting.
No, I'm not saying, why they did it, but
Yeah.
I'm asking another question. Why can't they just do their own march?
Well, they've got the Orange Order to do their marches, haven't they?
Well, that's true, but why can't they just go and do that?
They could rebrand it, get the same people out. couldn't
Right. Do you know there was a National Front activist there? There was Orange Order in that. They've all been identified. There was 2 people at the front, women, with a visceral hatred coming out of their faces, absolutely horrendous. But there was a guy standing with an iCar, and he had his headphones on, and and they were all shouting over the top, but he couldn't hear him because he had his headphones on. And Lachie Moore was the man's name, and I've got him on Twitter.
Yeah.
And he says it was no big shakes; it was easy just to keep them behind me. I was listening to Run Rig, he says. But there's iconic pictures going out of this guy with his kilt and a set of headphones, and these people behind him shouting like mad, and he's not for turning. He just nothing because you can't hear them.
Yeah, good one.
Brilliant. One thing came to my mind, Kev, and this I don't know if he's playing devil's advocate here, but a research fellow from the University of Aberdeen, my old alma mater, and he says, wow, there was a lot of British Britain supporters, called them British supporters, didn't call them British nationalists or anything like that, Britain supporters out there as well.
Yeah.
And I got back to him, I says, a research fellow, please do your research.
Oh, he's obviously a unionist.
Well, he's playing a devil's advocate or something. But the photo he got looked as if it was there was 2 saltires and 5 big Union flags, and he thought that was
Oh, is that right? So it was not given the true picture.
no.
Yeah, we've had that before, haven't we?
We have indeed. What apart from the wee ballerina, what was the iconic?
Well, that was the one that stood out for me. I mean, I was so busy concentrating on the production that I didn't really get to focus in on anything too much. But that was one that stopped me in my tracks, was that little girl dancing with she's ballerina dancing. It was so
Yeah,
funny.
no, it's cute.
And luckily, because Mike was doing small little live stream, he wasn't doing big long ones.
No.
I could easily play that back out in another shot on the live stream. So it was that really stood out for me, that one.
Well, I think it was Wendy had a picture in the Castlegate, and the day was quite. It was sunny, but there was a time where it rained, and it made the grey stand out. And on the grey, it was all murky grey. In the middle of her picture was this blue and white colour, contrasting the granite grey. And it's just a beautiful. I've got it on my phone. I'll maybe put it out. It's just a fantastic photograph.
Yeah.
And in the foreground, it's got the pipers putting down their pipes and just having a rest, and they've got their bonnets on. And behind them is this swathe. I mean, it looks as if it goes for miles right down Union Street of saltires. It's just amazing pictures, really good quality.
I mean, it's so uplifting seeing these events. It gives a chance for families to come together, to join these things,
Well, here's the thing, Kev, I'll ask you this. Apart from a football match, or maybe a rugby match for some people, when else do you get to bring out your Scotland colours?
Yeah, exactly.
You don't. And it's a celebration of your own country which you love, and you want to see well, and you want to do well, and you want people around you to do well. It's not a selfish thing, it's a selfless thing. You're wanting that guy down the road who's on the streets, you want him to have a better life.
Yeah,
you want that
absolutely.
guy who's recovering from cancer to get the best treatment. If you're, that's all it's about. It's not about flags, it's not about us better than them, it's just about getting the right service for the people.
Yeah, it's about, government, democracy, what you want out of your country, what you want, where you want it to go, and, fighting for that politically to make that happen. And, of course, with independence, we've got a better chance of making that happen because the politicians are closer to us.
Well, we always argue that here on IndieLive.radio, that when you bring politics, government closer to the people, you get things like baby boxes and rid of bridge tolls. If you get them distant from the people, you get tax evasion and you get Brexit.
Yeah.
Anyway, we'll stop for some music. Here's Casey Musgraves. This is for my wife. She's Wonder Woman. I think it's live.
This is IndieLive.radio. Unfortunately, we cannot legally live stream music. Tune in to IndieLive.radio for audio. This is IndieLive.radio. Unfortunately, we cannot legally live stream music. Tune in to IndieLive.radio for audio. This is IndieLive.radio. Unfortunately, we cannot legally live stream music. Tune in to IndieLive.radio for audio. This is IndieLive.radio. Unfortunately, we cannot legally live stream music. Tune in to IndieLive.radio for audio. This is IndieLive.radio. Unfortunately, we cannot legally live stream music. Tune in to IndieLive.radio for audio. This is IndieLive.radio. Unfortunately, we cannot legally live stream music. Tune in to IndieLive.radio for audio. This is IndieLive.radio. Unfortunately, we cannot legally live stream music. Tune in to IndieLive.radio for audio. This is IndieLive.radio. Unfortunately, we cannot legally live stream music. Tune in to IndieLive.radio for audio.
Well, it's another cloudy day with further showers. Showers will become well scattered during the morning with more in the way of drier weather. The showers are then becoming more frequent again later this afternoon and evening. Maximum temperature is 18 degrees centigrade. And tonight it's going to be rather cloudy with scattered showers again at first tonight. The showers will become mostly confined to Ayrshire and Kintyre, but moving right through Scotland in the night with drier, clearer conditions developing elsewhere. Right, where were we, Kev? Wonder Woman.
Wonder Woman, that was...
Sorry, Kev. Where were we?
Yeah, talking about Wonder Woman.
Aye. Now, what did you get today that makes you say that?
I got a big cake, and I'm very impressed by it. In fact, it's a massive cake, and I'm really hungry.
Right.
And my mouth is watering looking at it. So,
it's your favourite. It's a chocolate cake.
yeah.
You wouldn't want to know the obscene amount of chocolate went into that cake.
It's certainly, there must be a lot looking at it. It's quite impressive.
Now, you've also got your wee napkins.
That's right, napkins, knife, candles. So
Have you got a lighter?
I do.
Right, you can light the candles and we'll put a picture up somewhere.
Yes, definitely.
Right. So that's it.
Very much appreciated.
That's
by the way.
Mrs. H doing her.
Thank you.
Yesterday she was really busy in the kitchen. I says, "What are you doing?" I says, "I'm making a cake." You can't give him nothing. Because she was asking me, Kev, what do you give the guy who's got everything?
Yeah.
I says, a cake. She goes,
Always appreciated.
I said, well, I don't know, Kev, what does Kev need? I don't know what he needs.
Chocolate cake, that's
Chocolate
what I need.
cake.
As
Can't
much
go
and
wrong.
as many as possible, all the time.
Can't go wrong. Now, on to other things, Kev. On the Times yesterday, there's this report that's been released. I'm not sure if it's been released deliberately or otherwise to make people scared or fear Brexit. But the Yellowhammer report, do you know much about that? It's,
I've just glimpsed it and read a little bit about it, but it does look pretty horrific.
They're making preparations for a no-deal Brexit. This was done last year, and it's horrific. It's what we know already, but people are still hesitant to believe it. You're going to have shortages of food.
Yeah.
Boris Johnson has said he'll need 10,000 new policemen on the beat. That's not a policy. That's there because there's going to be riots, because when there's food shortages, what happens? You get looting, you get rioting. We make no, this is not a Project Fear. This is actually from a party who want Brexit, who want a no deal. It's their words, not ours.
Yeah.
So we can't be spreading fear. We're just saying what they've written down. It is horrific. And, the other thing that came out was Priti Patel, the Home Secretary, wants to effectively have the end of freedom of movement day one on Brexit. When we get that Brexit, nobody gets in, nobody gets out. And if you haven't registered as a national, you're out.
This is a two-way street, right? So what about the EU citizen, the UK citizens in the EU? So this is, going to affect them as well.
You know this, Kev? Their head is in the sand. There's still. There was a program on Channel 4 that was talking to, what's it? We don't call them foreigners over in Spain, but English and Scots, people who had now settled over there.
Yeah.
Brits abroad, it was called. And they were asking them about Brexit and how it would affect them. Oh, it won't bother us now. We can speak. We speak English. We bring a lot to Spain. We do a lot here. We do da-da-da. No, you don't, mate. You go out for a beer in the sun. That's all you do. You're spending your pension money here. You don't do anything. You buy a few beers. Do you think you're contributing to their economy? What gives them this right to think that they are better than anyone else?
Is this the latest programme that came out?
Yeah, it was about 3 weeks ago.
Jeez. Well, I'm not sure how representative he is of UK citizens in the EU, but I'd imagine it'd be quite a lot of them worried about it.
I'm sure, Kev. I'm worried for the people in Scotland who have been on this show, really worried about their status as a citizen. They've come to Scotland, they've brought skills, they've brought themselves, they've fallen in love, they've married, some people have children here, and now because they came here in a European passport, they're now having to negotiate their nationalism here, their nationality of being British, and doing tests and having to go online. And people are saying, I just can't be bothered.
I tell you something else, it's got to be a big worry to EU citizens here and UK citizens in the EU, and that is there's no agreement about health service. Of course, at the moment there is, and if you get injured over there, you've got your wee card with you, it all gets paid for you.
That's right.
Right, but it's reciprocal, so that all ends.
Oh yes,
that's
gone.
That ends. So
that's gone.
Older people over there, I don't know. UK citizens and and vice versa. It's really shaking things up, that's for sure.
Well, it is, Kev, and the Spanish government are trying their best to make a deal, get something sorted with the rest of Europe on immigrants that have gone to, say, Germany, British people in Germany or France or wherever they are. But it's this country, Britain, that's digging its heels in and saying no. Because they've got the Brexit party are right on their coattails. They've got to be seen to be doing something to swallow up their vote. because we've got 26% of that vote. That's a huge number of people voting for a Brexit party.
Yeah.
And, the Liberals are trying to stop the tides, but Jo Swinson's got more chance of that than I have winning, the national lottery.
Well, I think she's changed her tune. She did say she would do no deal with Corbyn and Labour, right? I mean, that leaving her with nobody, but I believe she's changed her tune in that, and she might. But again,
keep an eye on that today.
They don't want to, they don't want to do, some of them, and the Tories that I know, they're against Brexit as well. They don't want to have anything to do with Corbyn. Of course, Corbyn wants to be the Prime Minister for that short period of time.
That's right.
Before and
before they have the hung parliament. Well, if they have a vote of no confidence, they've got 2 weeks to find a new government, a temporary government, to take us through this. If Jeremy Corbyn is the largest party after the Tories, it is incumbent on him
absolutely
to take over. Who does Jo Swinson think she is? Her getting to the top of the Liberal Party, this power thing's gone to her head. She hasn't a clue. She's trying to rule the country now and saying, I've got the two elder statesmen of the House, Harriet Harman and Ken Clark.
Yeah.
As if that somehow gives gravitas to her argument. It doesn't.
How many MPs do they have anyway?
Yeah, it's 8, 10, 12, I don't know.
It's tail wagging the dog stuff.
Absolutely.
But they just need to get it done if they want to stop
Brexit.
They've got to get it done. No Brexit deal. They've just got to sort it out.
Well, the thing is, Kev, a lot of people are asking, even at the march on Saturday, and on this programme, people are getting in touch saying, isn't Nicola Sturgeon absolutely going in the wrong direction, trying to stop Brexit when she should be trying to promote independence? My argument to that is, if we get independence and England is on a hard Brexit, it makes it even more difficult for us to trade and bargain with them because they're out of that common market. If we get independence and England are still in Europe, it's a lot easier to trade and go backwards and forwards.
Well, I think it's
in our own
definitely
interest.
Be more beneficial for an independent Scotland to have, if we're in the EU, that's a conversation to have, right? We get that. But to have England in the EU as well.
Indeed, because then it wouldn't be so difficult with the tariffs, the regulations.
But whether they're in it or not in it, right? We're still better off independence. So
yeah, a lot of people think we can't save England from itself. Well, we can't.
But the other thing is, right? Nicola Sturgeon's head of a government, and they've got to deal with the big issues that come to the fore, right? And it doesn't get much bigger than the EU, right? So that's just something that she has to deal with, right?
Aye.
So it's not a case. I would say it's not a case of like she's ignoring independence. She just has to deal with this massive issue.
Yeah,
right. So
that's right. Aye, absolutely. She's doing.
Or she wouldn't be doing her job.
Exactly.
Right.
Well, what do you think out there? Just Kev, you can give the.
We'd love to get your opinions. You can send us text messages to 07507 248856, or you can go to the chat box at indylive.radio.
I was going to put the wee jingle on, Kev.
Are you?
But we'll take a wee break. We'll look forward to hearing what you've got to say. More chat and music coming up after this.
Unfortunately, we cannot.
This is Doris Day.
Music.
Move over, darling.
IndieLive.radio for audio. This is IndieLive.radio. Unfortunately, we cannot legally live stream music. Tune in to IndieLive.radio for audio. This is IndieLive.radio. Unfortunately, we cannot legally live stream music. Tune in to IndieLive.radio for audio. This is IndieLive.radio. Unfortunately, we cannot legally live stream music. Tune in to IndieLive.radio for audio. This is IndieLive.radio. Unfortunately, we cannot legally live stream music. Tune in to IndieLive.radio for audio. This is IndieLive.radio. Unfortunately, we cannot legally live stream music. Tune in to IndieLive.radio for audio.
Oof, right, Kev, back on. Just found that thing, it was in the Sunday Times yesterday, actually, the operation on Chaos, Whitehall's, I'm just reading this, Whitehall's secret no-deal plan leaked. And let's have a look at what it's saying. Britain faces shortages of fuel, food and medicine, a 3-month meltdown at its ports, a hard border with Ireland and rising costs in social care in the event of a no-deal Brexit. Did I make myself clear there?
Jeez, yeah.
Do people get that, I wonder? And this is according to an unprecedented leak of government documents that lay bare the gaps in contingency planning. They can't even make plans for this. The document, which sets out the most likely aftershocks of a no-deal Brexit rather than worst-case scenarios, have emerged as the UK looks increasingly likely to crash out of the EU without a deal. The government expects the return of a hard border in Ireland. That current plans to avoid widespread checks will prove unsustainable, they say. This may spark protests, roadblocks and direct action. This is their own language, Kev. This isn't me making this up. This is what they're saying. They're expecting logjams and disruption on the border with Ireland. Read into disruption, what'd you get?
Yeah, that could be, that might trigger a return to the Troubles, I don't know.
Aye.
So hopefully not.
Do you know this? There was somebody tweeted from Ireland, she's a nurse. She says currently she can cross over through a farm into technically what's Northern Ireland and treat a patient who's not very well and then go back to Ireland, which is 20 minutes away. When there's a hard Brexit, she will not be able to do that. That is what a no deal is. Mm-hmm. That is reality. There's going to be no... if you've got anti-seizure tablets, for example, and you need them to stop you dropping off or collapsing, they're going to be in short supply. Where are you going to get them? And this Tory government don't care. They just don't care, Kev. This is like how to get austerity working. Just kill the poor. Just get rid of them.
These people will not be affected.
They will not
by the EU. And as we know, some of them who have got businesses here have relocated them out of the UK. That's how cynical can you get.
Dyson's way to Thailand.
Dyson.
That Witherspoon, I'll never drink his pubs again. You know that?
Yeah.
Never. For his nonsense. Absolute garbage. He's depriving my wife of insulin.
Yeah.
But because he wants a no deal, because we can take control.
What does that
What's that mean?
Does that mean sell our soul to America for a trade deal?
Aye, for a chlorinated chicken.
Goodbye, National Health Service.
Oh, they're licking their lips.
That'll be put on the table.
It will, and already is.
It's already been mentioned by Farage and Trump.
Indeed. And if you think that's what we're scaremongering here, who is putting more pressure on the Tories to be more right-wing, to be more neoliberal? It's Farage and his Brexit party. 26% of the vote. We'll have a bit of that, thank you, if it gets us in power to secure our tax havens out in the Cayman Islands or the Bermuda or Isle of Man, Jersey, Guernsey. These people only want Brexit for one simple reason: to maintain their tax evasion status. Nothing more, nothing less. And we're all squabbling about here over the head of a pin, immigration, this, that, and the next thing. But you know who's going to bear the brunt of this? The ordinary person.
Yeah,
Brexit is going to hit the ordinary person hard. And you know this, last week I said, you know, your mortgage is the most expensive thing coming out of your wages, your monthly wages. What about if we stop paying our mortgage for a month? All of us in Scotland, or even 10,000, bring a bank to its knees, bring those fat cats to it. And you know what? We shouldn't be paying most of our wages on something that is a necessity in life, a roof over your head. And bear this in mind as well, Kev. Most of us are living in boxes, tiny wee places that you can't swing a cat in, and we're paying extreme prices for them. And who's milking us of all that mortgage money? Bankers, faceless bankers.
Yeah.
Don't get me started on this, folks. If you think of scaremongering, I'm not. This is in the Yellowhammer report that was leaked to the Times. It's all there. You can read it yourself. Right, Kev. I get angry sometimes.
Did I get the coffee on?
I think you should, man. Now, going up to the Highlands, this is Rhythm and Reel, the Gale. This is for all our listeners up in the northwest of Scotland. If you've got a wee cafe and you're wanting to hear a bit of music, put this on. It picks up, and it reminds me of the march on Saturday with the pipers. Brought a blimmin' lump to my throat, Kev, when I heard those pipers going down. Anyway, less of my gabbing. Here's a bit of music to listen to.
This is IndieLive.radio. Unfortunately, we cannot legally live stream music. Tune in to IndieLive.radio for audio. This is IndieLive.radio. Unfortunately, we cannot legally live stream music. Tune in to IndieLive.radio for audio. This is IndieLive.radio. Unfortunately, we cannot legally live stream music. Tune in to IndieLive.radio for audio. This is IndieLive.radio. Unfortunately, we cannot legally live stream music. Tune in to IndieLive.radio for audio. This is IndieLive.radio. Unfortunately, we cannot legally live stream music. Tune in to IndieLive.radio for audio. This is IndieLive.radio. Unfortunately, we cannot legally live stream music. Tune in to IndieLive.radio for audio. This is IndieLive.radio. Unfortunately, we cannot legally live stream music. Tune in to IndieLive.radio for audio.
Go, that was Rhythm and Real, The Gale. Welcome back to me, Norrie Hunter, on Indie Live Radio. Right, big thanks. Big thanks go to Mr. Graham Laurie. He says, we were just chatting on Twitter, and he says, I hope the show goes from strength to strength, Norrie. It's crucial to the movement, and it deserves much more attention. Interviews like the one with Patrick on Friday can only help. Meanwhile, I'll do all I can to keep prodding my band of followers to ditch the MSM and give you a go. Kind regards, Graham. Brilliant, Graham. It's good to have you along, man. You're one of our, you're a good lad, and we appreciate all you do for us. Talk about somebody who does a lot of things for us is Dougie Bendel. Dougie sent us some podcasts that we're going to try and work our way through today after the show and get them on the webpage. If you're listening to, if you can't listen to this program right now, or you can only listen to part of it, it is being recorded, and our good man Steve Callaghan he downloads it and puts it on for a later date to listen to. So if you want to listen to it later, you certainly can. Just another message from who have we got? Biddy. Wee Biddy says, fantastic. I slapped myself in the back here. Fantastic selection of music as always, Norrie. Keep going from strength to strength. Thank you very much. And well, we're getting more messages on the Yellowhammer report that was leaked. We'll try and get them. Maybe talk about them later on in the show. But what do you think about working till you're 75? And where's all this pension money gone that we've been paying into all our lives? Why can't we get ready to retire at 65? Would it be good if Nicola Sturgeon came out and said, look, in an independent Scotland, we'd have a retirement age at 65 for men and women. End of. And we'd have funds to pay for it. Wouldn't that be good? Because then people wouldn't have to wreck their souls and their bodies trying to do manual work that they're not fit to do. And it would give young people a chance to come into the workforce and try and get themselves started in life. Right now, it's very, very difficult for young people. Talking of which, we have a young man called William Ucci coming into the studio next Friday. Oh, this Friday, actually. I'm looking forward to talking to William. A young man with a lot to say, and a younger person, 24 years old. He knows what he's talking about. If you want to hear that, tune in on Friday. Can't wait to have him on. Right, what else we've got? Well, we've got Taylor Swift coming up. She's ready for it. If you are, so am I, Pet. Let's see. Pet, that's terrible. What have we got? Yeah, she's ready for it. I'll put it on now. Taylor Swift. Here she goes.
This is IndieLive.radio. Unfortunately, we cannot legally live stream music. Tune in to IndieLive.radio for audio. This is IndieLive.radio. Unfortunately, we cannot legally live stream music. Tune in to IndieLive.radio for audio. This is IndieLive.radio. Unfortunately, we cannot legally live stream music. Tune in to IndieLive.radio for audio. This is IndieLive.radio. Unfortunately, we cannot legally live stream music. Tune in to IndieLive.radio for audio. This is IndieLive.radio. Unfortunately, we cannot legally live stream music. Tune in to IndieLive.radio for audio. This is IndieLive.radio. Unfortunately, we cannot legally live stream music. Tune in to IndieLive.radio for audio. This is IndieLive.radio. Unfortunately,
Right, that was Taylor Swift, and she is ready for it. Kev, I did something I don't usually do, and I called somebody pet. How sexist was that?
Yeah,
It just popped out. I was looking at the next thing I was going to talk about, and not to do with pets or petunias or anything like that, but I don't know why. I hate myself for that, actually. Don't like using that kind of language.
that wasn't meant in any.
No, I know. I don't.
So I wouldn't torture yourself over it.
Do you want to hear the top 10 jokes at the Fringe from the comedians?
Yeah, go for it.
What's the first one? Olive Falafel. This is the top joke.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, I've heard about this one.
I keep randomly shouting out broccoli and cauliflower. I think I might have florets. Well, you can see him with his prize. He doesn't look. He didn't think his joke should have been that well rewarded. Who's Milton Jones? This guy. What's driving Brexit? From here, it looks like it's probably the Duke of Edinburgh. Aye, him.
Oh dear.
Let's not go into royalty. I just get my Republican head on a rant. No, I'm not going to go there.
I'm not so keen myself, Norrie, as you know.
Nope. But I go off in tangents, Kev. It's these parasites that take our money. And what's Prince Andrew? A trade envoy.
Yeah.
Let that sink in for a minute.
Yeah.
Absolutely nothing job.
Got to give him something to do, haven't he?
He does nothing. Ross Smith, a thesaurus is great. There's no other word for it. Well, there you go. That's I like these jokes. Kev groans. So, what we're doing?
Well, I've got. I was just looking at some of the comments. Right, we've got in the Facebook. Of course, we're live streaming this site, and it's James Coyle has said he's talking about the EU. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Unfortunately, loads of folk, especially down south, just want immigrants out in blue passports so they can. So when they can't go abroad, when they can go abroad for their holidays, pay or die with health care, work till 75 with less job protection. They know it's going to happen, but actually they will be okay as they are British, right?
Yeah. That's pretty
didn't
much.
read that out too well.
No, you did. I think what they're trying to say is, don't worry, we used to run an empire. We won the
British,
war.
we'll be
We're
fine.
British, we'll be fine. Here's a disturbing one, Kev. Remember I was talking about the UK seeking to end freedom of movement for the EU citizens on day one of Brexit. Well, friend of the show, WG Saraban, says he spent the weekend in Aberdeenshire marching for the independence of an open, welcoming Scotland, and then publicly speaking about how welcome my partner and I have been made by our fellow Scots. And then I got home to the cruel reality of Westminster.
Yeah.
You know, that sums it up, doesn't it? It stops you in your tracks.
Absolutely. I
When
mean,
they come out with that stuff.
you know, we're the EU citizens that are here in Scotland are been really badly affected by this. But Nicola Sturgeon did a cool thing, right? She's, you know, if you need any medical care, they can still get it.
Yeah.
So that
in
was
Scotland.
good. In
Yeah, don't worry
Scotland.
about if you're an EU immigrant and I don't like what
I hate that as
I
well.
don't, but this is what they're calling them.
Yeah.
If you're a citizen of Scotland who was not born here but come to reside here, if you're not well, you can still use our NHS in Scotland. No problem at all. Getting on with the story I had there, Kev, with WG Saraband, and this affects plenty. He says, after Brexit, I won't be able to visit my ageing parents in Portugal because I will be too worried about not being able to come back home.
Jeez.
My life is in the hands of a homophobic death sentence supporter, Thatcherite zealot like Priti Patel, and Scotland can do little to help. I feel really, you know what, I wish we could get independence yesterday for these people. They're getting caught up in something that is not their making. What can we do?
Just keep the plugging
faith.
away.
Keep the
try to
faith.
get independence, getting the message out there. An independent Scotland is going to be a forward-thinking, modern country. You know, so
But could it be
welcoming
too late
people.
for some of our people? That's what he's saying.
Geez, just what can you say? Hang on as long as you can.
I know.
But you know, you've got our support. Look at what Nicola Sturgeon's done. You know,
Yeah.
so you can still get free medical care, right? So with the limited powers we've got, we'll do our best to make these people take the stress away from a lot of these people.
It's you know, the more hostile, bigoted and xenophobic this Home Office tries to be, the more passionate I become about Scottish independence, because I recognise Scotland in any of these oppressive new realities. I don't recognise Scotland in any of these oppressive new realities. My country is better than this and I'll fight for it tirelessly. That's a Portuguese guy in Scotland talking about Scotland.
Yeah.
He's made Scotland his new home. We should be welcoming these people with red carpets. Never mind throwing them out.
They've got so much to
Yeah.
offer Scotland, you know, and
I'm telling you. Oh, I'm going to erupt.
frustration.
Oh.
Yeah, absolutely.
Anyway, I've got my. If you're watching on Independence Live, you can see my John McClane T-shirt, Capitalism.
Yeah.
Just thought I'd wear that today. Didn't know Kev was going to be live streaming all this, but never mind, he is. And I'm glad I've got this one on.
It's a good looking one, and of course he comes from round about where I live,
That's right.
south side in Glasgow, and we're trying to get. I'm trying to get the square that was newly built there.
Lineside
renamed.
Halls.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm just waiting for the local community council to come back. I think they're away on holiday, so
Well,
when they get back, I'm getting fired into that.
Well, we'll talk about councils in a minute. The Council of Aberdeen are wanting to charge, all under one banner, a substantial amount for not agreeing to the terms that were laid out on the route. We'll have a look at that in a minute, Kev.
Yep.
But get some music. Brandy Carlisle, Party of One, featuring Sam Smith. This isn't a bad wee song.
Good.
This is IndieLive.radio. Unfortunately, we cannot legally live stream music. Tune in to IndieLive.radio for audio. This is IndieLive.radio. Unfortunately, we cannot legally live stream music. Tune in to IndieLive.radio for audio. This is IndieLive.radio. Unfortunately, we cannot legally live stream music. Tune in to IndieLive.radio for audio. This is IndieLive.radio. Unfortunately, we cannot legally live stream music. Tune in to IndieLive.radio for audio. This is IndieLive.radio. Unfortunately, we cannot legally live stream music. Tune in to IndieLive.radio for audio. This is IndieLive.radio. Unfortunately, we cannot legally live stream music. Tune in to IndieLive.radio for audio. This is IndieLive.radio. Unfortunately, we cannot legally live stream music. Tune in to IndieLive.radio for audio. This is IndieLive.radio. Unfortunately, we cannot legally live stream music. Tune in to IndieLive.radio for audio. This is IndieLive.radio. Unfortunately, we cannot legally live stream music. Tune in to IndieLive.radio for audio. This is IndieLive.radio. Unfortunately, we cannot legally live stream music. Tune in to IndieLive.radio for audio. This is IndieLive.radio. Unfortunately, we cannot legally live stream music. Tune in to IndieLive.radio for audio. This is IndieLive.radio. Unfortunately, we cannot legally live stream music. Tune in to IndieLive.radio for audio. This is IndieLive.radio. Unfortunately, we cannot legally live stream music. Tune in to IndieLive.radio for audio. This is IndieLive.radio. Unfortunately, we cannot legally live stream music. Tune in to IndieLive.radio for audio. This is IndieLive.radio. Unfortunately, we cannot legally live stream music. Tune in to IndieLive.radio for audio. This is IndieLive.radio. Unfortunately, we cannot legally live stream music. Tune in to IndieLive.radio for audio. This is IndieLive.radio. Unfortunately, we cannot legally live stream music. Tune in to IndieLive.radio for audio. This is IndieLive.radio. Unfortunately, we cannot legally live stream music. Tune in to IndieLive.radio for audio. This is IndieLive.radio. Unfortunately, we cannot legally live stream music. Tune in to IndieLive.radio for audio. This is IndieLive.radio. Unfortunately, we cannot legally live stream music. Tune in to IndieLive.radio for audio. This is IndieLive.radio. Unfortunately, we cannot legally live stream music. Tune in to IndieLive.radio for audio.
Well, there goes the fabulous Ronaynes, another homeless affair here on Indie Live Radio with me, Norrie Hunter, and Kevin Gibney. Back to the messages coming in. The fact that Priti Patel, she's been saying that freedom of movement will come to an end, must come to an end as soon as Brexit, the hard Brexit deal has been won. And Kirsty's saying, it's horrible, isn't it? I'm absolutely terrified my family will get split up because this is only the beginning. My boyfriend has been told not to apply for Social Security until we know what's happening by his employer. I told him tonight he needs to apply soon. I don't want him to apply at all. You can understand that, Kev, can't you? Because if you apply, that's you on the radar.
Yeah, absolutely. It's
Shocking.
Yeah, horrible situation to be put in, that's for sure.
And, Kev, you were saying we don't really know what's going to happen with Brexit. I argue, I take argument with that because this is a report by the Tory party that's been leaked. It's their words. They're in charge. They are the government. This is not an opposition leak. This is not a leak from an organisation, a government organisation. This is the actual government. And this is getting us all speaking today because we're all frightened. There's loads of stuff coming in. If we could just get through them. What's this other one? It's sickening, says Mags. This is McGill. I'll hide you both in my attic room. My Brexit stockpile is there so you won't starve. Bless her. Yes, independence is no longer a dream. It's an urgent necessity now, says Bell. Yes. Fiona Mackenzie says it's terrifying now. Absolutely terrifying. We'll come back to that. It just shows you the level of concern out there, Kev.
Oh, yeah, definitely. It's just it's the unknown, isn't it? And as you said, with this pretty...
you keep saying it's
horrific.
unknown, but...
but mine was like how bad it's going to be.
Yeah, it's going to be really bad.
But,
what level of bad is it?
Exactly. And, so many different people be affected in so many different ways, whether that's medicine, whether it's travelling to see relatives in the EU or whatever.
Well, we'll have a read of what the SNP are saying about it. They're warning of havoc as secret papers set out no-deal chaos. And they've warned the repercussions of a no-deal Brexit revealed in the leaked government dossier, including shortages of food, medicines and fuel, lay bare the sheer havoc Scotland and the UK are hurtling towards.
Yeah.
Stephen Gethin spoke out his cabinet contingency. Wait a minute, I'll just get a bit of break note here. Let's see. Running out of airtime, Kev.
Get it sorted. Get it sorted.
Published in Sunday Times, the documents also warns the UK will be hit with a 3-month meltdown as its ports, widespread strike action and potential clashes between UK and European fishing vessels amid concerns hundreds of ships will illegally sail into UK fishing waters. A senior Whitehall source told the paper, "This is not Project Fear. This is the most realistic assessment of what the public face with no deal. These are likely, basic, reasonable scenarios, not even the worst case scenarios."
Yeah.
Let that sink in.
Yeah.
So, narrow nationalism. We have to revolt against this. We do. People are going to have to revolt. If you haven't got a job, how do you pay your mortgage? If you don't pay your mortgage, you're out in the streets. No, let's not pay our mortgage. Who wants to be out in the streets? We don't want... Paying too much of our taxes on these people, and they're going to hide all those taxes that they earn in tax havens.
Yeah.
Scotland, wake up! Come on, Britain, wake up! This is worse than what we're ever seeing on Indie Live Radio. Just be careful. I'm telling you. Right.
I think we're going to have to do a special show for the Halloween.
Oh, aye. That'll be a scary time, Kev.
Yeah.
I'm not looking forward to that at all. What else? Buckingham Palace claims the Prince was unaware of any wrongdoing going on at the mansion, saying he has been appalled at the recent reports of Jeffrey Epstein's alleged crimes. We mentioned that earlier on. I suppose, Kev, he's guilty because he's associated with Jeffrey Epstein. In his house and girls leaving, coming and going.
It's a murky affair.
It is a murky
really
one,
is,
and it's not going to go away.
No.
It's not going to go away.
Him, committing suicide.
Yeah, what was
very
that?
difficult to do in that particular prison.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of talk about shenanigans because he knew a lot of powerful people.
He did,
and
he did.
It leaves that up in the air, doesn't it?
And it says one of the things was, how did Jeffrey Epstein earn his money? Because he had.
Was he not a trader?
No,
I thought he was a trader.
He went down as a hedge fund operator. Well,
Right.
which that's a black. That's worse than being a politician, or But the thing is, he had information on people that he would give out because they went with underage girls. In Miami, I think the age of consent is 18. So if you're a 17-year-old, and took her away, whatever, he's got something on them. And so he gets money that way. It's almost like blackmail.
Yeah.
And so
it's all pretty dodgy stuff, isn't it?
But, when there's no transparency on financial negotiations and financial affairs, you make up your own conspiracy theories because there's no evidence to tell you otherwise.
Well, Epstein should have went to prison a long time ago, but he was sent to a minimum security prison, could leave it and come back at certain times, and they're looking into that as well. Why was he given that kind of deal? So there's a lot to come out with this.
There is, and the press group will not let go of Prince Andrew. Not a chance.
I don't think so.
When they smell blood, they're in there.
He's still in their sights.
I'm telling you.
There's more to come out.
I'm telling you. You can hide behind your royalty. And even today, the BBC were calling him His Royal Highness, His Highness, and the Prince. These titles mean nothing to me. Do you know that?
Yeah,
Absolutely nothing. This is like, and the medals he wears, he wasn't in any wars. What medals are they for? Building a Lego set when you were 5. Just nothing. Absolute rubbish. Right, what we're going to play? We need something a bit... Kevin Gore. Not heard of Kevin.
Yes, excellent.
Be a Nation once again. Why not?
Yes, now's the time.
Now, I've heard
It's
that.
our time.
That's the gag. Right, here's Kevin Gore. We'll be
Peace,
back
love, and
after...
Scottish independence.
You betcha, pal. Here he is. Be a Nation once again. Back after this.
This is IndieLive.radio. Unfortunately, we cannot legally live stream music. Tune in to IndieLive.radio for audio. This is IndieLive.radio. Unfortunately, we cannot legally live stream music. Tune in to IndieLive.radio for audio. This is IndieLive.radio. Unfortunately, we cannot legally live stream music. Tune in to IndieLive.radio for audio. This is IndieLive.radio. Unfortunately, we cannot legally live stream music. Tune in to IndieLive.radio for audio. This is IndieLive.radio. Unfortunately, we cannot legally live stream music. Tune in to IndieLive.radio for audio. This is IndieLive.radio. Unfortunately, we cannot legally live stream music. Tune in to IndieLive.radio for audio. This is IndieLive.radio. Unfortunately, we cannot legally live stream music. Tune in to IndieLive.radio for audio. This is IndieLive.radio. Unfortunately, we cannot legally live stream music. Tune in to IndieLive.radio for audio. This is IndieLive.radio. Unfortunately, we cannot legally live stream music. Tune in to IndieLive.radio for audio. This is IndieLive.radio. Unfortunately, we cannot legally live stream music. Tune in to IndieLive.radio for audio. This is IndieLive.radio. Unfortunately, we cannot legally live stream music. Tune in to IndieLive.radio for audio.
Yes, welcome back to Indie Live Radio, 12:22. Me and Kev Gibney, right through till 2 o'clock. Now, on the chat box, European Parliament has to tackle the fact that it has 3 Catalan MEPs, Puigdemont, Junqueras and Koeman, unable to take their seats as it would require them to risk arrest to go sign papers in Madrid. Yes, indeed. The European Union, for me, Kev, is not perfect. And one of the things that really annoys me is its lack of action, direct action, sanctions, whatever, on the Spanish state for their brutality to the people of Catalonia, who had the temerity to have a vote, a democratic vote on something. So there's a bad taste in the mouth of the European Union on that, isn't
Yeah, it's
there?
definitely, as far as Catalan's concerned, for sure.
So we'll take
But,
that.
we've
Take
got-
that point on board.
It's the EU, right? If we get independence referendum, right, then it's going to come up about our membership of the EU, and that'll be put to another democratic vote, right? And we'll have a far better discussion about the EU than what we did for Brexit, which was a joke.
Aye.
You know, and so the good, the bad, and all that will come out. In that, and but at this moment in time, as far as I'm concerned, I'm pro EU.
Yeah, me too. I'm pro EU as well. For all its faults, it's once you're in it, it's worth noting that Scotland becomes an independent member, not a backwater like we are just now in this union. Now, more messages. Retire at 75 equals better together. Union is in terminal decline.
Yeah, that's shocking. Not only do we have the worst, pensions in Europe.
Do you know,
and then-
Kev, I was looking, the European Union to its member states wants the average pension age at €15,000, which that goes up to £16,000. You know what the British pension is? 7.
Yeah.
And 2014, the Better Together mob were saying, you'll lose your pension.
That's
Well,
right.
well, that chicken's coming home to roost, isn't it?
That was the original term, and nobody'd heard of what does Project Fear mean, right? And that came out during IndieRef, leaked by Better Together. It came out one of their emails. We're going to hit them with Project Fear.
And I remember Labour people coming to my door warning me about my pension. And I just says, look, I've got more sense than you think I have. Get lost away from my door, you midden.
Yeah.
Get. Indy Pram race. Aberdeen was great. Ended up at the very rear of the march for a change. So lovely to see all the thousands in front of us along Union Street. The Imperial March went down a treat as we passed Mankey Jacob, but he totally blanked me this time.
Yeah, sure. That's the leader of the, little group of protesters.
Including a National Front member.
Protesters.
Indeed. Right. What else is happening? Just bopped into the Blair Brethren, Yes Hub in Blair Gowrie. Very impressed, friendly, welcoming, lots of good reading material of a local nature, worth a visit. That's good. The Blair Brethren and Yes Hub in Blair Gowrie. We'll give that a wee shout out, Kev.
Yeah, and Ellie's mentioned Epstein here. He had neck injuries 2 weeks before he died. Failed attempt to bump him off.
Oh. And so the conspiracy theories continue.
Yeah.
Wow. What do we make of all this? There's a lot more to come out of this Jeffrey Epstein thing than we think. Why not broadcast the IndyCar broadcast in your show as a wee daily feature? I'm sure Gordon Ross would say yes.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Can maybe mention to him. Being August, Norrie, right?
Yeah.
It's kind of holiday time and things get a bit slack. But maybe we'll start sorting all that kind of stuff out as well, getting other content on, Norrie, yeah?
Yeah, what me and Kev will do today is have a strategic meeting to look at what the options are in the future. One of the things that people have been asking us for is T-shirts and mugs and things, which, to be honest, we could end up losing money through something like that. We need to get help from people outside to get that one rolling.
That's a tricky one. I've looked into this before, and you think, is it more hassle than it's worth? But, it'd be good publicity.
It's great publicity.
But
we have to work at it very carefully. That's what we're saying.
Yeah, we'll look into that again.
That'll be for discussion over a pint.
Of tea.
No. I don't know. We'll make it, tea then.
Have we talked about the Ferguson shipyard yet?
No, we haven't.
Yeah, I was...
well, we've got a minute left.
All right,
we'll do it justice.
No. We'll wait till after this.
Aye, because there's a lot in there, and it's still... I mean, people are still amazed that this is happening. It's become nationalised. Why it's become nationalised? Was it the SNP's fault? Was it CalMac's fault? Was it the owner of the shipyard's fault? We'll have a look at it, Kev, when we come back. This is Miranda Lambert making plans. Oh, and by the way, that was Dougie Bendel's jingle he done for me.
Oh, nice.
The cool one.
Excellent.
Well, I'm very lucky, Kev. Very lucky to have people like Dougie and JJ as well doing these things for us. Right, here's Miranda Lambert making plans.
This is IndieLive.radio. Unfortunately, we cannot legally live stream music. Tune in to IndieLive.radio for audio. This is IndieLive.radio. Unfortunately, we cannot legally live stream music. Tune in to IndieLive.radio for audio. This is IndieLive.radio. Unfortunately, we cannot legally live stream music. Tune in to IndieLive.radio for audio. This is IndieLive.radio. Unfortunately, we cannot legally live stream music. Tune in to IndieLive.radio for audio. This is IndieLive.radio. Unfortunately, we cannot legally live stream music. Tune in to IndieLive.radio for audio. This is IndieLive.radio. Unfortunately, we cannot legally live stream music. Tune in to IndieLive.radio for audio. This is IndieLive.radio. Unfortunately, we cannot legally live stream music. Tune in to IndieLive.radio for audio.
That is the fantastically talented Miranda Lambert making plans. Just what me and Kev will do after the show. Now, you were mentioning renationalisation of the shipyards.
Yeah,
Ferguson?
the Ferguson shipyards. So it was the last donor being Jim McCall, right? So
By the way, who stays in Monaco, a tax haven.
does he?
Yes.
Yeah. Well, Jim McCall supported Scottish independence in 2014, right?
Aye.
But he's a big entrepreneur. He's helped out the independence cause in the past. But I think 2015 he changed his mind and said, that it's been done. Independence has now been done. It's been blah blah blah, which of course was nonsense, Project Fear and all that stuff.
Right, that's right.
But I'm not exactly sure where he stands at the moment. But in terms of the shipyard that he owned, I'm just reading some of this stuff in the Common Space article, okay, and it's really interesting.
It is, but
He wanted them to effectively take a stake in the company,
yes, but
equity, right,
Yeah.
as opposed to the Scottish government just buying it, or just buying the whole thing, but nationalising the whole thing.
aye.
Just wanted them to take a equity in it. So I'm assuming he would still run it.
Well, that's right, and he'd take the profits as
Right,
well.
so, I'd be in a position,
The thing about this, Kev, is because it's now coming under public control.
Yeah.
So you and I and everybody else has a stake in this company because it's our taxes that go to keeping it going, which isn't a bad thing in my view. It means that his profits, the company is a not-for-profit company now. It doesn't seek the markets. It's an in-house governmental organisation. And I've just heard coming through, there's going to be a board on the Ferguson shipyard to negotiate for the new ships that come in. And if there's any repairs or upgrades, how they're going to... because that was the real reason they got into difficulty. Apparently, CalMac were asking for changes in design to be... And there were so many that he just couldn't cope with it. If you change one tiny thing in a boat design, you might have to change 5 other things to accommodate it. So it was just too much for him, and he was losing money. And if a businessman is losing money, what does he do? He gets out. And that's why the Scottish Government had to come in.
yeah.
But this piece in the Common Space, I'm not sure who wrote it. Who's done this? It's Ben Ray.
Ray, yeah.
Great piece. Ferguson Marine entered administration after costs doubled and there was delays on the construction of the 2 ferries. So That was the real reason it went into difficulty.
I've got to say, if you're relying on just on two ferries, you've got a bit of trouble there anyway. But looking at other independent countries, they've got their places that they can build their ships, etc. But why can't we?
Well, that's that's a very good point.
I think Jim McCall was so keen on buying that initially, that Ferguson's, because he saw the potential of green energy and all this stuff, and he could see how it could really be involved in that. But we need, if we get a board of directors in there, we need to try and make it flourish.
Indeed.
Right, and this is a big thing. We need to go out and try and find that work. The question is, can you do that when it's nationalised, or do you need entrepreneurial heads in there?
No, you can do it. When I was over in Norway, one of the things that is amazing, when you go up and down the landmass of Norway, as I did, you see the shipyards. And these shipyards don't just make big boats, they make small boats, ferry boats. Can you imagine how many ferries Norway's got for all its fjords and its round the coast and all the rest of it? Quite a few, and they're a sea-loving nation. And they build... They may be small boats in a boatyard, and further down it's a shipyard, it's a big boatyard. Why do we have to have these big boats? We can do smaller stuff in Scotland. We have the technology, we have the workforce.
I would love to talk to someone about that from...
Well, we'll get Ben Ray.
Get Ben back in.
Get Ben back in to speak about his column. There's a lot in it to discuss today, but why not... Let's play in this. Why don't we get Ben in sometime this week if we can?
Yeah. And
let's go over the bones of this one.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Right. Lots and lots happening. On the we mentioned this thing about Prince Andrew and the Epstein thing.
Yeah.
To be fair, Angus is saying Prince Andrew did fly a helicopter during the Falklands conflict. Was he in any danger? He's asking. Ellie says, nope, I know plenty who served in the Falklands and they never saw him because he was kept away from it all.
Yeah.
And Angus goes back, his participation was probably massively overhyped by the sycophantic press indeed. And he's not one of the lads, is he? He's something different. Right.
I'm just reading an article from Wings Over Scotland at the moment, Norrie, it's the latest one. When you're 74, right, so he's going on about the pension stuff,
Yep.
And Gordon Brown and Scottish referendum, independents would put pensions, healthcare and welfare at risk, that stuff we've kind of went over there. Mm-hmm. Tories plan to raise the age to 75 over the next 16 years. And he's also talking about that leaked document. So that's the latest article in Wings Over Scotland. I'll have a little look at Bella as well.
Yeah, on the Twitter front, Taylor saying, what kind of sick mind looks at their grandchildren and thinks, you should die before you get the chance to retire?
Yeah.
Tories, eh? It's madness. 75, for goodness sake. This is the thing. These people never have to adhere to retirement ages. The same people who will profit from catastrophes like Brexit. Absolutely, Julie.
I've just got a message in from Kat as well. She's saying she hopes I can take over the show when you get wheeled off to the Tower of London.
Why?
Talking about Prince Andrew.
All right.
Yeah, she's just having a laugh.
Somebody said to me, I'll be responsible for the biggest crash in the economic system in Britain because I told people not to pay their mortgage. Guilty as charged. And if I'm guilty as charged about Prince Andrew.
Yeah. That wasn't Cat, sorry, that was Staffy Dogs for Indy.
Oh, Staffy Dogs. Right. Somebody's tweeted, this is a good one. I'm buzzing to find out who leads the Better Together campaign during Indy Ref 2. Who do you think, folks? Who do you think will be running the Better Together campaign in Indy Ref 2?
Oh, it's...
Jo Swinson. See if she did, Kev. See if she did. And she led it. Would you change your accent back to a Scottish one?
Probably. Both
faces in the tune clock.
No, that's a good question. My money would go on Gordon Brown. I feel like Gordon Brown again.
No. He's a spent force.
Gordon Brown. And,
who's this Alistair Jack? Alistair Union Jack.
Oh, yeah.
Nah. Yeah. Ruth Davidson's in the way out. It's kind of our.
Well, they could actually give her another boost and wheel her out, her
Yeah,
and
but it'll do
Gordon
her no
Brown.
good. She's a busted flush. And this is why.
Yeah.
This is why. John McDonnell says we won't stand in the way of a second referendum. No. This is all. The mood and music has changed completely because there's no one to run a Better Together campaign.
Yeah, they've
We've just
blown
got
it
to
all,
take it and
haven't
run with it,
They've-
folks.
They've shot out all the Project Fear stuff.
Aye, indeed. So, who do you think will take over as the Better Together campaign leader in the second Indie Ref? Food, fuel, and medicine shortages are what we talk about in wartime. This could happen in peacetime as a result of a conscious decision by our Prime Minister. Absolutely shocking. It's madness, absolutely madness. Talking of which, here is madness. It must be love.
Excellent.
This is IndieLive.radio. Unfortunately, we cannot legally live stream music. Tune in to IndieLive.radio for audio. This is IndieLive.radio. Unfortunately, we cannot legally live stream music. Tune in to IndieLive.radio for audio. This is IndieLive.radio. Unfortunately, we cannot legally live stream music. Tune in to IndieLive.radio for audio. This is IndieLive.radio. Unfortunately, we cannot legally live stream music. Tune in to IndieLive.radio for audio. This is IndieLive.radio. Unfortunately, we cannot legally live stream music. Tune in to IndieLive.radio for audio. This is IndieLive.radio. Unfortunately, we cannot legally live stream music. Tune in to IndieLive.radio for audio.
Yes, indeed, it must be love. That's madness going to the ether there. Right, we're getting some messages from abroad. I always like this. This is good. Charlie in Japan says, "Keep up the good work. Loving the bagpipes." Oh, this we played that was Lament for the Forgotten Soldier or something. Yeah, that was on earlier, Charlie. Glad you liked that. And Sheila in Jaipur. Jaipur, is that? Yeah, it's India. India, I think that's our first Indian. Sheila, what are you doing out in Jaipur? Get in touch with us. Good to hear that you're listening to Indie Live Radio all the way in Jaipur. And Charlie in Japan, good to hear you both. If you're listening to Indie Live Radio from abroad, let us know where you're listening from and we'll give you a wee shout out. No problem. Now, As I come into work out of Central Station in Glasgow, and this is a wee shout out to anyone that comes into Glasgow and they're looking for a quick bite to eat or a nice cup of coffee. There's only one place to go, and that's down Oswald Street. So you come down just to as you come out onto the tunnel, Hillman's Umbrella. You just turn left and go down Oswald Street, and you'll come to a wee place called Wrap and Roll. Now, what's the good about Wrap and Roll? Well, prices for a start. You can get a cheese salad roll for £1 on a Morton's roll, which are the best rolls you can get. Cheese salad roll, ham salad roll for £1. So if you're skint, you can go in there and get at least you can get a roll to keep you going for a wee while. I know a lot of people out there get in touch with the show are unwaged, zero hours contracts, that kind of thing. I'm finding everything's too expensive. Well, I tell you what, not only do you get good food, you can get what I get is I get the link sausage and a crusty roll, £1.20 that one is, £1.20, yes indeed, £1.20, and that keeps me going. But what you get is really friendly faces in the shop, and you leave that place with a wee bit of a glow because they treat you like a human being. You've got your dignity intact, and you just ask for what you can afford, and away you go, bang. What a place, what a place. Wrap and Roll, Oswald Street. Don't usually do big adverts like this for places, but because the prices are so low, the people that work there are so kind and chatty, it's the only place to go, Wrap and Roll. WRAP and Roll. Right. Get some more music. Kev's away for a bit of fresh air. I think we'll probably out for a cigarette, but never mind, that's what he does. I'm still in here because I don't smoke. We're going to play J. Cohen. This is Down to the Honky Tonk. Superb. Wee bit of a hoo-ha before it starts, but believe you, when it kicks off, it's no bad wee tune at all.
This is IndieLive.radio. Unfortunately, we cannot legally live stream music. Tune in to IndieLive.radio for audio. This is IndieLive.radio. Unfortunately, we cannot legally live stream music. Tune in to IndieLive.radio for audio. This is IndieLive.radio. Unfortunately, we cannot legally live stream music. Tune in to IndieLive.radio for audio. This is IndieLive.radio. Unfortunately, we cannot legally live stream music. Tune in to IndieLive.radio for audio. This is IndieLive.radio. Unfortunately, we cannot legally live stream music. Tune in to IndieLive.radio for audio. This is IndieLive.radio. Unfortunately, we cannot legally live stream music. Tune in to IndieLive.radio for audio.
Yes, indeed. Jake Cohen going down to the honky tonk here live on Indie Live Radio with me, Norrie Hunter, and today, special guest, Kev Gibney, of course. It's been a long time since it was me and you, Kev. Back in the early days, we used to do this quite often.
Yeah.
But then you put your Independence Live hat on and then deserted me.
Sorry, man. It's a multitasking.
We're all multitasking. Fluffy. He's going to be the he's our contender for the leader of the Better Together group in a second indie riff. We've definitely got it in the bag then, haven't we?
Absolutely. I mean, honestly, it's a tricky one to actually come up with any name that would go down well for the Unionists. I mean, Gordon Brown is the only one I can think of.
I wonder if they'll bring up the MPs. You know, the Imperial March.
Oh yeah, tell us how much they love us while we're running out of food and medicine.
The thing is, Kevin, this instance, there's a lot of English people now saying, and journalists in particular saying, do you blame the Scots for wanting independence? They're now turning the whole thing round. Yeah. Do you actually blame them? In The Guardian, I can't remember who the writer was, but he's going, if I was Scottish and I stayed in Scotland, I'd be looking down at this mess and thinking, let's get out of here.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
So the whole thing's changing.
Yeah, the mid.
Aye, even in England.
Yeah.
And people, there was a harrowing, it was Channel 4 done this programme about the family in, I think they were in somewhere, Chepstow or Chelmsford, excuse me, I don't know, but it was something like that. Down in England, it was a scheme, and the woman says, yeah, it's sometimes I've gone without food to give to the children. It's thank goodness there's a school, because that's the only place they'll get food. And what's the most worrying thing? Not having anything to do. I'm so bored, I can't think of anything to do to entertain the kids. I'm so hungry, I'm so tired. This is 2019 Britain.
It's like, going back to the Victorian ages. I mean, I'm sure that the Tories would love to introduce, your Oliver Twist scenarios again.
They don't care, Kev. There's one thing that they worry about, and that's keeping their wealth hidden. That's all it's about. If you think about this, why did we have a Brexit argument? Tax directives coming over from the European Commission. Every member state had to include them for transparency, so no other country could have any advantage over anyone else. What do we have? Oh no, we can't have that because we've got the Panama Papers are out. We can't get any more than that. And what did they do? The guy that leaked the Panama Papers, they jailed him on a trumped-up charge that he's on rape in Sweden. That got quashed, but he's still in prison for revealing the truth.
Yeah, WikiLeaks.
Yep, WikiLeaks, man. So we know it's out there. Mm-hmm. And you can Google them. You can Google Panama Papers and do the work yourself. The interesting thing about Panama Papers is, when we do land reform as a subject, you look at the Panama Papers, there's people in those papers that own land in Scotland.
Yeah.
You couldn't make this up. So those Panama Papers are for tax thieves, asset strippers, hedge fund operators, money launderers, and they own our land as well.
Yeah.
Come on, Scotland, wake up, wake
Absolutely.
up. Come on, let's get them out. Let's chase them out. I don't care. We need to set up laws so that if you're not on the land, within 2 weeks or 4 weeks of the new rules or laws, whatever it is, rules, you lose that land.
Well,
you lose that land.
That sounds good to me. Land reform's going to be massive.
It has to happen sooner rather than later. How is it, Kev, that if you're a poor person in the Highlands, you're put in a scheme and you can't see the beautiful countryside around you at night because you're looking at somebody else's window. You're put together in boxes away from the scenery, away from the tourists, in this subhuman scheme. Why on earth can't we have ordinary people, unemployed even, have views to the sea, to the mountains as well?
Yeah, we need quality. Well thought out, but buildings. There's so much needing done.
I know.
To improve our society.
I know. And there was a report came out that poverty in Scotland was on the rise, and Brian Wilson, ultra unionist, was writing that we don't have far to look, do we, to the SNP? What have they been doing about it? Blah, blah, blah.
My God, what a cheek.
Yeah, but the thing is, Kev, I think there were hundreds of responses to his tweet saying that this is a legacy of Labour over 50 years. It doesn't get cleared up in 10. It takes ages to clear the mess you left behind. And already we're trying to do that. We really are. We're getting... Our schools aren't being built in PFI, for example. We're getting rid of taxes that affect us, like bridge tolls. We're getting baby boxes to new mothers, that kind of thing. That's the kind of thing we should have had.
Building infrastructure, of course.
Exactly. That's what we should have been doing when Labour was in power. But what did they do? Nothing. They sat in their hands and went down to London and took the money, took the coin. There you are. If one thing about the Tories, you know who they are. You can hate them for what they are, but see, Labour over the years, we didn't really know what they were about, and we voted for them. See, now we know we have no time for them.
Yeah, well, we've got an option with the SNP now, don't we? So,
that's right. And the
Greens are there.
And the Wings Over Scotland.
Oh yeah, the Wings Over Scotland party. That's an interesting development, which may or may not happen, of course.
Well, we don't know yet. Here's the thing, Kev. On Friday, we had Dave Thompson, Christians for Yes. What a brilliant speaker. He was all for the Rev, Stuart Campbell, taking up these list seats because we're losing a hell of a lot to the Unionists. And if you look at the Unionist Tory MPs and MSPs in the House, in the Scottish Parliament, most of them are there on second vote or third vote. Mm-hmm. Hardly any of them are there in the first vote. So how can we hoover up those votes and get them out?
Yeah, it's a very controversial one. Wings Over Scotland party targeting the list seats. They've got no intention of targeting the SNPs, just the lists.
Yeah.
You could argue the Greens are doing that.
But they've got 6.
Greens are there.
But they're not doing it hard enough. Maybe this is a wake-up call to the Green Party.
Yeah.
Stop living on the coattails of the SNP. Have your own independence message. Take that to the people. Don't hide behind the SNP.
Yeah, I mean, I've heard so much stuff about this as well. Rev Stew, I think's given it that the Greens are trying to say that they're too extreme to one side. With I just don't know, right? I'm kind of on the fence with this. I'm not sure.
Well, if
that's a good idea or not. But then again, it could work. And
you see, here was the argument. Patrick Grady said, no, we need a referendum because a general election doesn't take in the amount of numbers we need to fully establish the lead we want. And we want the golden deal that was David Cameron's well examined. That was only done because David Cameron always thought he was going to win.
Yeah.
That's why he agreed to that deal, the Edinburgh deal. So they're saying now, this is Patrick Grady on Friday, he said, no, we have to have that gold standard again. Dave Thompson says, well, hold on a minute. You're just going to say goodbye to all those votes. And the reason we got around to this because we're talking about Angus MacNeil's
Plan B.
Plan B. He doesn't agree to it, but Dave does. So it was a brilliant discussion about the pros and cons of that. And most people said, and I think Patrick was very quiet when Dave gave the explanation to it. So I think Dave got the upper hand there on that one. His arguments were better, I thought, that these votes are going to waste. And we should mop them up. If the SNP doesn't get them, Patrick, you're in the SNP, it doesn't matter if you get them or not, they're gone. Would you rather another independence party got them or the Tories got them? Mm-hmm. That was the question I put to him. And then he went on to another question, so he didn't quite answer it. So I'm just wondering.
But it's such a gamble.
Is it really?
Yeah, it is. It could work for you. It might work for you, and it could maybe have a negative effect. So,
Well, the question that came up is, seeing the list, the seats, what if the Tories got half and Wings Over Scotland got half? Well, that's half of theirs gone missing, isn't it? It is.
Yeah,
And
but
half's
that
better than
seems-
nothing.
You know, you're trying to guess what people are likely to who they're likely to vote for. So, you know,
Well, in this strange world of politics right now, Kev, you've got a Brexit party who stand on one issue, and they get 26% of the vote. What's to say people can vote on one issue at a general election or a Scottish election?
oh, here we go.
Oh, there's
Is that
news.
the news? We're
That's
going
a
to the news.
shotgun, right
We're
through
going
me.
for the news.
This is IndieLive.radio. Unfortunately, we cannot legally live stream music. Tune in to IndieLive.radio for audio. This is IndieLive.radio. Unfortunately, we cannot legally live stream music. Tune in to IndieLive.radio for audio. This is IndieLive.radio. Unfortunately, we cannot legally live stream music. Tune in to IndieLive.radio for audio. This is IndieLive.radio. Unfortunately, we cannot legally live stream music. Tune in to IndieLive.radio for audio. This is IndieLive.radio. Unfortunately, we cannot legally live stream music. Tune in to IndieLive.radio for audio. This is IndieLive.radio. Unfortunately, we cannot legally live stream music. Tune in to IndieLive.radio for audio. This is IndieLive.radio. Unfortunately, we cannot legally live stream music. Tune in to IndieLive.radio for audio. This is IndieLive.radio. Unfortunately, we cannot legally live stream music. Tune in to IndieLive.radio for audio. This is IndieLive.radio. Unfortunately, we cannot legally live stream music. Tune in to IndieLive.radio for audio. This is IndieLive.radio. Unfortunately, we cannot legally live stream music. Tune in to IndieLive.radio for audio. This is IndieLive.radio. Unfortunately, we cannot legally live stream music. Tune in to IndieLive.radio for audio. This is IndieLive.radio. Unfortunately, we cannot legally live stream music. Tune in to IndieLive.radio for audio. This is IndieLive.radio. Unfortunately, we cannot legally live stream music. Tune in to IndieLive.radio for audio. This is IndieLive.radio. Unfortunately, we cannot legally live stream music. Tune in to IndieLive.radio for audio. This is IndieLive.radio. Unfortunately, we cannot legally live stream music. Tune in to IndieLive.radio for audio.
There we go. That was Richard Thompson, Turning of the Tides.
We nearly get caught out there,
Did
didn't we?
again. We're looking at all the messages coming in, flying in at us. It's a busy old day. I never thought it'd be this.
Yeah, for a
turbulent,
Monday morning.
Right. Somebody mentioned Fluffy as the leader of the next Better Together campaign in IndieRef 2. A lot of people are saying, well, we can't read them out, can we, Kev? But
Well,
there's one at the bottom. Great show, Norrie and Kev. Chat and music equally good. Ree Epstein think Max Clifford, who suddenly did himself in before he stood trial. He and Epstein died with all the big names they knew about. Too much to risk for those who have all to lose, i.e. public image, reputation, public support, ergo money.
yeah.
I don't know if that's wrong, Kev.
It's somebody's tweeted us, sent us a text message on
texted.
07507 248856. We don't have a name there, but yeah, interesting tweet. You know, Max Clifford done himself in before he did. Maybe a chance to, you know, give out all those names and
You see,
same with Epstein.
this is just perfect for conspiracy theory, isn't it? This case.
I'm thinking Princess Diane.
Oh, Kev, naughty.
Did she? Did she
King
not?
of Jockey Stan has said, if I get to 65 and can't work due to my job, if I due to being too physical, I will rob a bank. If I get caught, they will put me in jail for 10 years. The state will feed and water me, put a roof over my head, and give me health care. When I get out at 75, I will claim my pension.
Jeez.
It's why have we never had a TV speech from Union Jack, the new Secretary of State, against Scotland? Why is he? We've not. He's been nowhere, hasn't he? The new Secretary of State.
Yeah.
Oh right. Here's the one, Kev. I was trying to find this. This is by David Hink. The fact that 50s women were robbed of their pensions by raising the pension age is undeniable. We know that, there must be women. But the biggest argument against putting that right has been the cost, a fact perpetually used by the present Pensions Minister, Guy Openman, who quotes the £70 billion plus figure. Recently, I discovered that successive governments had taken the decision not to top up the fund as originally proposed by William Beveridge when the welfare state was set up in 1948. What I did not know was how much money was lost. Lost, he says. I'm just going to... Now, thanks to an extraordinary paper prepared for the National Pensioners Convention by a Social Security expert, Tony Lines, and still on the web, I know it is, and it's staggering. I've got a web page for it. The paper, written 12 years ago by a man I personally used a fount of all knowledge in the benefit system when I was social services correspondent on The Guardian. He sadly died aged 85 in a car accident in 2014. His calculation from beyond the grave is that for every year that the government decided not to contribute to the fund, it was deprived of 11.3 billion. As he says, restoring the supplement at its present 1981 level would bring an extra 11.3 billion a year into that fund. Enough to meet the gross cost of 109 per week basic pension. So, who's been dipping into that fund? National Insurance. This is what he's talking about.
Yeah.
This was you pay into this because you're paying for your own pension. When I stopped working offshore and I went to claim, because my wife wasn't well at the time, and she still isn't, they said to me, your I&I contributions only contribute for the next 2 years. I says, who made that up? Did you just make that up? No, this is actual figures from the government. I said, I was always under the impression that, and when I was offshore, I paid a lot of tax, Kev, a lot of tax. So where does all that money go? I get 2 years. In fact, I got a year benefits. Then I had to sign on and go through this universal credit thing and put all this stuff in. I eventually said, get lost, I'm out of here. And I was doing some work at the BBC at the time as well, so I just kind of lived off that. But other people went in as well, same as me, paid all their life into the system, no money for you. You'll have to sign on. And you have to make sure you're applying for a job, and they make it so difficult for you when you're applying for a job. It's incredible. So where does all that money go?
Wars.
Nope.
Nope. Tax cuts.
Nope. We know that virtually no money was paid into the fund. This would be paid. Why this didn't happen is because politicians of all three major parties took a decision not to do this. They knew the pension pot would mean they would be some of the wealthiest pensioners in the land when they came to retire, and the taxpayer would foot the bill. So it went back into those who have money. They'll be the wealthy ones that gets the pension. Those that me and you, and the likes of me and you, would foot that bill by not getting a pension.
Yeah.
So the rich get richer, and we at the bottom get poorer. Instead, they chose the cheapest route. They raised the pension age so they won't have to subsidise the fund, and tried to keep mum so the women wouldn't realise what they were doing. Unfortunately, we've all got, for them, we've got internet. A misappropriation of national insurance funds by all three political parties, unionist parties. Once you're in power, Kev, you get swayed by it. You get drowned in the power, and you think, we've seen the expenses rubbish. Some people think they're absolutely entitled to get this money because of where they are and what their standing is in society. And yet us at the bottom are suffering because of that.
Yeah, and again, like, where's the mainstream media, like, highlighting all these issues, it's...
they're under the same constraints as us, and they'll tell you this. Transparency. There is no transparency. Secrecy. The House of Commons is notorious. I mean, we had... Rees-Mogg made 45 million for Somerset Holdings over the Brexit period. 45 million. Of that, he got 8 million for himself. When asked where he got the money, He says, I'm entitled to every politician, every MP entitled to my privacy. No, mate, you're just earned 8 million on your pocket. What are you doing pocketing 80,000 a year as an MP? You don't need to be here. You've got your money. Give that to somebody who needs it.
Yeah.
No, but he wants to be in power to affect change and to affect, Brexit.
Yeah, to bring us out of Brexit.
Yeah, to be in a position of power. And he'll go to all these meetings, he'll talk softly, and, Brexit's going to be perfectly sensible for us all. We'll get through this, and blah, blah, blah. Your soft tones don't work, mate.
Jeez.
You know? I'm just getting too angry.
I know, I can see that. You better have a drink of coffee.
Oh, well, I better. Don't know. Something really.
Yeah.
We're in the last hour of the show. What else is happening?
I'd like to give a little shout out.
Go, do it, Kev.
Yeah, Angela Leach Angela Leach. She's asking me to give a shout out for Staffy Dogs for Indy, who I mentioned earlier on. So if Staffy Dogs for Indy, I think it's Zara. But I hope you can follow us okay on IndieLive.radio. We've got the iOS and Android app to help with that. Or go to our website, IndieLive.radio. and your Twitter address, Staffy Dogs for Indy, is at Grazza62. That's at GRAZZA62.
And I've got a couple on this side, Kev. Ellie's saying people need to put the politics aside, stop Brexit, call IndieRef2, then we can deal with the political differences. Sir, yes, Bathgate SNP organised a bus to Saturday's Indy March. A great day was had by all. Every march has always been a great day, never any trouble, and the people are lovely. From the pictures we were putting out, Kev, I would totally agree with that.
Yeah.
Alistair Jack is my local MP. He won the seat in the 2017 election. The previous MP was Richard Arkless. That's right, but we didn't say all the Tories, won. Mm-hmm. We said a lot of them came second or third. Some of them did. I think Alex Burnett's another one, first past the post winner in Aberdeenshire against Dennis. I can't remember Dennis' second name. Early, many benefits haven't seen an increase since 2014-15, yet inflation rises each year. And last year we saw a 15% increase in gas and electric prices. That's right, I forgot about that.
So
we got a letter in just the other week, Kev. Our electricity prices are going up.
So if benefits aren't increasing in line with inflation, right, that's effectively a cut.
And now, just to finish this one, she says, now there's talk they'll stop the pensioners' winter fuel bonus.
Yeah.
There's no money in the pot. That's what they tell us. Aberdeen, somebody said, if I look outwards, I see oil rigs. When I look back the way, I see food banks.
Yeah.
Somebody said, was asking the question, has Aberdeen benefited from the oil? And she says, the rich have. And somebody said, well, I've been to Bergen, the oil capital of Norway. Chalk and cheese, Kev. Chalk and cheese. A place where development, new buildings, modern buildings that can withstand all kinds of weather, new materials, boatyards, facilities for offices, you name it. It's just beautiful streets, beautiful cafes, the lot. And Aberdeen, still with the granite, the buildings, still an impoverished place for the money that it created.
Of course, Norway has the biggest fund. I think it's about $1 trillion it's got from its benefits from its oil, and we have none.
We have none.
And I think we're pulling out the same kind of oil as Norway.
It's black. It's it's the same stuff.
Yeah, and of course the big thing is the green energy that we've got so much of. The potentials there.
Potential's there indeed.
Surely we can manage our own affairs better. Why are we handing it over to someone else to manage our affairs?
No other country would tolerate that.
We can't make the same mistake again.
No, we can't.
IndieRef2.
Willie, I'm not even going to go there. Willie Rennie's tweeting again. I'm not going to mention him. It's just a waste of space. What else has been? Oh, did you see rugby, Kev? You're not a rugby man, are you?
What happened?
It was Saturday night. Scotland were playing France.
Really?
It's a for the World Cup, and
Wow, didn't even know.
we got horsed.
Did we?
5
I
tries
wish
to
they
nil.
had brought it up.
Anyway, here's Circle in the Sand, head in the sand, more like the Scottish rugby team.
This is IndieLive.radio. Unfortunately, we cannot legally live stream music. Tune in to IndieLive.radio for audio. This is IndieLive.radio. Unfortunately, we cannot legally live stream music. Tune in to IndieLive.radio for audio. This is IndieLive.radio. Unfortunately, we cannot legally live stream music. Tune in to IndieLive.radio for audio. This is IndieLive.radio. Unfortunately, we cannot legally live stream music. Tune in to IndieLive.radio for audio. This is IndieLive.radio. Unfortunately, we cannot legally live stream music. Tune in to IndieLive.radio for audio. This is IndieLive.radio. Unfortunately, we cannot legally live stream music. Tune in to IndieLive.radio for audio. This is IndieLive.radio. Unfortunately, we cannot legally live stream music.
Of course it is, Belinda Carlisle. Well, Kev, you found something really interesting. Once I get the mic sorted.
Yeah, it's Scottish politics on the BBC site, right? It's the CBI boss says Scotland faces big Brexit risk.
Yeah, this is really interesting. No friends of Scottish independence 2014.
That's for sure.
Or the BBC for that matter. But what's the headline? CBI boss says Scotland still faces big Brexit risk. So what's it saying?
It's an eye-watering. Scotland could face up to 14 billion a year.
14 billion?
Losing 14 billion a year.
Yeah, that's...
we are no-deal Brexit.
And what does... I wonder what the Scottish budget is, what we get from... It's about 36 billion, isn't it?
I didn't check that.
It's a lot of money out of the budget.
Yeah, that's for sure.
A lot of money.
You know, the economics behind it are insane. So,
despite preparations being put in place, so despite preparing for it and trying to get things in place, there's some things out of control that you can't do, and £14 billion a year is what the cost could be. Her comments came after a leaked UK government dossier, that's one we've been talking about all day, warned of no deal food and medicine shortages. And the Westminster ministers, they say, described the document as a worst case scenario.
All right.
Aye, right.
Sure.
We don't, us at Indie Live Radio, we do not believe them. Things are going to get worse than what you ever imagined. You heard it here first. Now, this woman, what's her name? Who's the head of that CBI report, Kev? What's her name? Fairbairn.
What's her name again?
Caroline Fairbairn.
That's it.
CBI Director General, no less. And she's talking about the Scottish impact. The disruption, she says, the long-term impact, the tariffs, these would all add up. We remain hugely concerned about a no-deal Brexit, hugely empathetic that the number one priority for government should be to get a deal. She was speaking at Glasgow at the start of a UK-wide tour ahead of UK's planned departure from the UK in October. It's grim reading. The £14 billion figure still holds true. We think that is the potential impact on the Scottish economy. The CBI director also told the programme we're already seeing businesses having their contracts cancelled with European customers who are saying this feels too complicated and risky dealing with you. Therefore, we are going to find other European suppliers.
Yeah.
We knew this all the time. They're coming late to the party, Kev, I would have thought.
Yeah, absolutely.
We knew this all the time.
Yeah.
It's in Scotland, just-in-time manufacturing is a very important part of the Scottish economy. It's a real concern. It's one of the reasons why we're already seeing an impact of Brexit on our economy. So, this is a great act of self-harm.
Yeah, you know, the Tories were supposed to be the party of business, right?
Yep.
And this is
Correct.
It's just not. So it's some of them are going to benefit from this, as we know.
Well,
but not the majority of people know.
Remember, I was telling you, the mood music's changing. Kevin, 2014, I remember the CBI in Scotland coming down heavily for the no vote, saying that we couldn't...
CBI Scotland, yeah.
Yep, telling all the companies that were involved with CBI, because they're an organisation for companies, to back them. And they were going on social media, they were on television. I can't remember who the guy was that ran them at the time, but he's not there anymore. And he was vociferous against independence. And now we've got them, fast forward that to 2019, and she's just telling it as it is. This is going to hit us badly. So what are you trying to tell us? Do you reckon, I wish somebody would have asked her, is independence a good option for Scotland then? Mm-hmm. Simple question.
Yeah.
Where do your political allegiances lie now? Because in 2014 you definitely were on the no side. Are you still there?
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't. That's the
good
thing.
question to ask.
CBI Scotland, do you want to come into the studio? I'll ask you
Absolutely.
the questions. I don't care. Kev will ask you the questions.
Yeah, definitely. Actually, that was a really good one. We should try and get someone from CBI Scotland.
Or Business for Scotland. Get them in.
Hey, what? Gordon McIntyre Kent from Business for Scotland and someone from CBI Scotland.
Oh, that'd be a humdinger.
Good one, wouldn't it?
Humdinger.
I'd like that.
Oh, so would I. That'd be good. Right, if you've got an app on your phone, you're listening to this somewhere in the world, don't be selfish, don't be greedy. Tell other people about it. Tell people to get the Indie Live app, iOS or Android. Get it down on your phone. This is Bruce Springsteen. I'm on fire. Back after this.
Live stream music. Tune in to IndieLive.radio for audio. This is IndieLive.radio. Unfortunately, we cannot legally live stream music. Tune in to IndieLive.radio for audio. This is IndieLive.radio. Unfortunately, we cannot legally live stream music. Tune in to IndieLive.radio for audio. This is IndieLive.radio. Unfortunately, we cannot legally live stream music. Tune in to IndieLive.radio for audio. This is IndieLive.radio. Unfortunately, we cannot legally live stream music. Tune in to IndieLive.radio for audio. This is IndieLive.radio. Unfortunately, we cannot legally live stream music. Tune in to IndieLive.radio for audio. This is IndieLive.radio. Unfortunately, we cannot legally live stream music. Tune in to IndieLive.radio for audio. This is IndieLive.radio. Unfortunately, we cannot legally live stream music. Tune in to IndieLive.radio for audio. This is IndieLive.radio. Unfortunately, we cannot legally live stream music. Tune in to IndieLive.radio for audio. This is IndieLive.radio. Unfortunately, we cannot legally live stream music. Tune in to IndieLive.radio for audio. This is IndieLive.radio. Unfortunately, we cannot legally live stream music. Tune in to IndieLive.radio for audio. This is IndieLive.radio. Unfortunately, we cannot legally live stream music. Tune in to IndieLive.radio for audio.
Yeah, a bit of fancy music there. I'm not sure where that came from. That's Armenia Norrie, it's called. Right, on Friday, I'll just jettison that. On Friday, we had Patrick Grady on the show, and he was asking everybody to make sure that they are registered to vote. Because he senses things are going to be moving so quickly in the next 4 or 5 weeks that he's absolutely convinced that a general election will be called for. And I don't know if you saw Jeremy Corbyn out in the streets. He was more on a independent. He was on a more general election march. He was telling people about what the Labour Party could offer their communities, etc., etc. And that ties in with what Patrick was saying, that a general election is imminent. So things are going to be moving quite fast when they return to Parliament. It's going to be, first of all, they'll get themselves in. There'll be a vote of no confidence called by Jeremy Corbyn. If that's successful, interim Parliament is to be selected. 14 days to do that. That might mean that the 14 days could be enough for Boris Johnson to get his no deal through. But it would be unconstitutional, but I don't think it's illegal. I think this is one of those things. So if that's the case, we need to get a general election. It might be called for because he's got majority of one. We don't know how the figures are going to pan out. It's going to be fast. Got Kevin back. He's been away just sorting out some stuff. Kev, you weren't here on Friday. But Patrick Grady was warning us to make sure that we are eligible to vote.
Yeah.
Nobody said anything about a general election so far, but Patrick was quite keen to tell everybody, especially the
to get registered.
Yeah. If you don't think you're registered, please do it now. There could be an election called within 2 weeks of him being back at Westminster.
Yeah, just check, make sure you're registered, and because it could be a snap election coming up.
Yeah, because remember, Boris Johnson's got a majority of one in the House of Commons.
Yeah,
one, and that's why he has to buy the DUP over to get this thing through. I'm not sure where he stands with the DUP now, because I think they're they're worried about the Irish unity thing, and don't think he's doing much to help them. And can he afford to give them an extra £1 billion to get them on side again? Don't know. I don't know.
I tell you that.
I don't know.
I mean, they want to get rid of the backstop anyway.
Mm-hmm.
In Northern Ireland, and another interesting thing actually that's come up as well. It's there's a group in the USA. Is it the Senate or the other one? Mm-hmm. And they're saying if that backstop goes, you won't be getting a trade deal with the USA. So that's an interesting thing that we're going to have to factor in.
Yeah,
because it took a lot of effort from their side to help make that happen.
Aye.
So if other pressures there on him.
Well, the big pressure Boris Johnson has just now is from the Brexit Party.
Yeah.
And that hard right neoliberal approach is what he is running scared of. He's more scared of that than he is of Jeremy Corbyn, to be honest. And if he can get the backbenchers and the people in the Tories party to come round him by saying to them, you could lose your seat if this goes to a general election, they may come and support him and not support the vote of no confidence. We don't know how this is going to pan out, Kev. I was asking so many questions of Patrick, but he couldn't answer them definitively how this is going to work out. He doesn't know. Yeah. He hasn't got a magic
I mean, that's
ball.
It's the big unknown for everybody, really, isn't
how
it?
the politics are going to work out in this. One thing we do know is that Scotland's going to get ready for an independence referendum, whether you like it or not. It's happening because too many people are going to be suffering, and Nicola Sturgeon cannot stand by and see people getting thrown out of the country because of something somebody else says. Not every week, Kev, we're on the show. Somebody somewhere is struggling to stay in Britain because of visas or legal. Here on a legal passport, this kind of thing. They've come here as a student. Mm-hmm. This is building up, and people are now at the point where they can't afford. There's a shop in Hamilton, by the way. I can't remember which it was. Liz at the shop told me about this. It's no stocking up on supplies until after Brexit. So when it's not getting any supplies, it doesn't need any staff. So it's just sitting there, empty, with no staff, waiting for after Brexit to see what happens.
Jeez, yeah, I mean, there'll be other businesses in the same situation as
Must
well, I'd
be.
imagine.
Must be.
You know,
I tell you, the luckiest people on this planet in Scotland right now are those people at Ferguson's who have been secured their jobs because the Scottish Government stepped in.
yeah,
For the rest of us, it's on the market forces we rely on, and that's a bad place to be.
Norrie, if I go back a wee bit, 2014, to safeguard the shipyards, you were supposed to vote no.
Aye.
Again, it'd be interesting to talk to some of those people
Well,
who were bought that and voted no, and all these problems with the shipyard.
they've all gone, Kev. They're spent forces. They've gone on to argue now. It was Project Fear that got the hold of them as well. Now they're looking at things and thinking, well, I was duped. And we can't be too hard on them. We've got to always make sure there's space
absolutely.
to move back
It'd
into.
be good to get listen to what some of them have got to say. So
Aye,
I'll look into that.
we'll get some people in. Definitely get Business for Scotland in.
Oh yeah.
And even if CBI don't come in, I'll be the CBI.
Right, I tell you
I'll
what,
stand up for
we will try that. Maybe we can ask Val and our researchers to.
Yeah.
To
Oh
do
well,
something.
Val's up in Loch Ness.
Yeah, she can't do it at the moment.
Can't do it.
It's not the best month because it's summer holiday time. So maybe September.
I know. We're just back ourselves.
Yeah,
From
I'm-
our halls.
I'm still all over the place at the moment. I'm trying to get my head together.
It's not easy, trying to juggle family, a radio station,
Yeah.
Independence Live, you name it. We've got to do it.
Have you mentioned Dougie's thing that's on later?
No, I haven't. Not yet.
Yeah, it's Dougie Bendel who does
Because
lots of our jingles and stuff,
Yeah.
and he's got a little thing happening at 3:00. I think he's created his own little podcast, so that's now
I'm looking forward to this.
Chat.
I
So am I.
couldn't find. Is it the first one or the third one? Where,
Do you know, I'm not too sure. I mean, I'm
Maybe
just back
did you?
from holiday. I've not had time to. That's another thing I've got to do. I've got to get through all these messages, etc., and try and deal with them. So over the next week, I'll be trying to do that as well as doing the
good.
whatever.
Yeah, we'll get the strategy for the next few months. We'll have to work on that as well.
But it was really good. The advert we got, the article we got in the Independence bag.
Yeah, it was. I was quite surprised. I thought he was very generous to us. There was no bring this down about the chaotic state we're in sometimes as we go on air. Nothing like that. He just said we work hard and more power to our elbow. Thank you very much,
Yeah,
Jack.
there's-
Really
there's-
good.
There's so many people involved with Indie Live Radio as well. It's you get Independence Live, all the live streamers, Indie Live Radio. There's lots of people in the background doing
Well, it's Val.
brilliant.
Yeah,
brilliant
Val,
work.
Val and Marlene do amazing.
Yeah,
Steve
it's-
Callahan.
Yeah.
And not to mention Dougie Bendel.
Dougie Bendel, and you get Fiona doing the news at the moment. for
Fiona's doing the
away.
news. Aye.
Jelly's doing great stuff, and
Cactus. I'm not forgetting Cactus.
Cactus.
He's there as well. Right. Callum Baird, Better Off Alone. A love song to Scottish independence.
oh, this is good. Yeah, he's got another career there.
He has. But I think he was trying. This is when he was just a journalist. He's not doing any recording now. He's an editor. Here's,
Yeah, that's true.
here's Callum.
Busy boy.
Aye. Here he goes.
This is IndieLive.radio. Unfortunately, we cannot legally live stream music. Tune in to IndieLive.radio for audio. This is IndieLive.radio. Unfortunately, we cannot legally live stream music. Tune in to IndieLive.radio for audio. This is IndieLive.radio. Unfortunately, we cannot legally live stream music. Tune in to IndieLive.radio for audio. This is IndieLive.radio. Unfortunately, we cannot legally live stream music. Tune in to IndieLive.radio for audio. This is IndieLive.radio. Unfortunately, we cannot legally live stream music. Tune in to IndieLive.radio for audio. This is IndieLive.radio. Unfortunately, we cannot legally live stream music. Tune in to IndieLive.radio for audio. This is IndieLive.radio.
There you go, that is Callum
Unfortunately,
Baird.
we
giving us
cannot
a
legally
leaf
live.
finishes off. Better Off Alone, a love song to Scottish independence. We like that here. Right, just in, Kev. Irish newspaper calls for union between Ireland, Wales and Scotland. Wales, Ireland and Scotland should form a Celtic pact and leave England behind to sort out Brexit for itself, according to the Irish Mirror. Writing for the newspaper, Jason O'Toole suggests that a pact of the four nations, Ireland, Northern Ireland, Scotland and Wales, would be similar to the Scandinavians with their Nordic Council. He says Wales and the rest could mimic the inter-parliamentary cooperation between Sweden, Denmark, Iceland, Finland, Norway, Greenland and other small islands. There would no doubt be countless benefits if we replicated that model, such as with trade agreements and unrestricted borders. Makes sense, doesn't it?
Yeah, that sounds all right.
I wish we could. And distance isn't a factor. The only problem is he's asked Northern Ireland to be part of this. And right now, that could be problematic.
Well, they need to sort out what they're doing over there first, don't they?
They do. But at the end of the day, Kev, I think when people are so far in debt, so far without food and water and the basic, I think people will just say enough is enough. I really do think so, and I think asking to work till you're 75.
Yeah,
Come on. That's been the highlight of the news, and free cancelling free movement of people as soon as we get a hard Brexit deal.
That's just insane.
That is, 1939, 35, Germany, this is what they were doing then. They were just after the war. There's no war here, remember. This is peacetime. There's no environmental catastrophe going to happen to us. This is all planned. You couldn't make this up.
This should be England getting out. If England's voted to leave, then they should leave, right?
Aye.
Make it easier for everybody else that doesn't want to. I'm sure Wales could have another referendum about the EU. Decide, but
Aye.
If this is what England wants to do, then it should, they've democratically voted for it. Fine, but they shouldn't be dragging us out.
Well, I just got a message on Facebook, and it's from the Doncaster Post, and they're going up in arms about Brexit deal. So when we talk about England, remember there was 49% wanted to remain.
Well,
a lot of them
that'd have probably been a bit lower. It was because Scotland pulled up that number.
Aye, well,
slightly,
yeah.
But I know what you mean.
It was just the They were saying that jobs and livelihoods were going to go because of a hard Brexit. This is Doncaster Post. Not something I read all the time, but it's just on Facebook. So that is good news. Right, we've got Brian Ferry. Let's stick together. Scotland, let's stick together. Better off alone, said Callum. Now I'm putting let's stick together. Just as they pop up on my screen. So here's Brian Ferry. Let's stick together. No, it's got to go. It's gone.
Right, it's good.
It's gone.
Go on.
This is IndieLive.radio. Unfortunately, we cannot legally live stream music. Tune in to IndieLive.radio for audio. This is IndieLive.radio. Unfortunately, we cannot legally live stream music. Tune in to IndieLive.radio for audio. This is IndieLive.radio. Unfortunately, we cannot legally live stream music. Tune in to IndieLive.radio for audio. This is IndieLive.radio. Unfortunately, we cannot legally live stream music. Tune in to IndieLive.radio for audio. This is IndieLive.radio. Unfortunately, we cannot legally live stream music. Tune in to IndieLive.radio for audio. This is IndieLive.radio. Unfortunately, we cannot legally live stream music. Tune in to IndieLive.radio for audio.
Yep, Brian Ferry, let's stick together.
This is IndieLive.radio.
No chance. Right, other news that's just come in. Well, it's not just come in, but it's worth mentioning, Kev, that Inverera are the new piping world champions in Glasgow this weekend.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Yep, they beat off competition from 13 nations to become the world champions.
Oh, good on them.
They saw off their nearest rivals, last year's winner, Field Marshal Montgomery Pipe Band from Northern Ireland, and St Lawrence O'Toole Pipe Band from Dublin came in third place. The win is Inverera's second victory at the event in 3 years. About 8,000 pipers and drummers making up 185 bands took part in the annual spectacle in the centre of Glasgow. No matter where you were in Glasgow on Saturday, you must have heard them.
Absolutely.
8,000 of them. And the event attracted over 30,000 people over 2 days. The nations represented included New Zealand, Australia, Canada, Austria, Switzerland, Ayr, USA, Belgium, England, Spain, Malaysia, Northern Ireland and Scotland.
Wow.
England's got a pipe band. That's must be expats or something. So well done to Inverera pipe band. That's good news.
And before I forget, Mr. Gravity Waves shows on tonight at 9 o'clock. That is superb. So we've got Dougie Bendel from 3 to 4, and we've got Paul doing the Gravity Waves show at 9 p.m. Excellent.
Brilliant show. Really I was surprised at what I heard. I wasn't quite sure what I was going to get, but really good stuff.
Absolutely.
So more of that, and Doogie's on at Doogie Bendel's show is on at 3:00.
Yeah.
What I'd like to know, Kev, is when that show gets repeated, because I'll be going on the train.
I'm totally out the picture at the moment. It's Steve that's setting up all the events for the calendar.
Yeah.
So you need to check that out, which can be done at the website.
Yep, I'll have a look at
Calendar
that
on the website.
because I want to hear what Doogie's got to say. Definitely. And the other thing, Indie Pram Ray, some stuff he puts in.
He does some good stuff.
Unbelievable quality stuff. We should get him in the studio to chat about what is who he's interviewed.
Catch up with him.
Yeah, but we'll catch up. Right. What have we got left? We've got 5 minutes. Walloper of the week.
Walloper of the
We've
week.
got to, last week. We forgot to mention Joe Swinson won the Bursani Award for being so childish with her student politics, thinking that she was above her station. You're the leader of the Lib Dums. You're nothing more than that, you muppet. In fact, where's my wee muppet? There we go.
Tune in to Indie
Yep.
for audio.
That's the Liberal Democrats out there, absolute muppets. Right, who gets it today? I'm not sure if it's Muppetry or Walloper. It's a toughie, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know who I would really put in? The Manky Jacket guy. Put him for Walloper of the week, trying to distort the figures, saying that there was 2,000 Yes supporters on his official webpage. Is that somebody's phone go off? I wonder.
Mine. I've got somebody coming. So
right, just turn it off.
I've turned it off.
Right, Manky Jacket, him.
Yeah.
And he says the independence crusade is dying a death.
Jeez, what planet's he on?
Well, that's what I thought. Can we put him in? He's not a politician as such, but Manky.
Why not?
Manky Jacket.
Let's put him down.
Right, I'm going to mark you down. If you win Manky Jacket, you're getting some washing powder for that jacket. What a state he's in. Manky Jacket. God, did your mother know? Right, we're going to play out with, we've got Calvin Harrison, we've got our Cheerios after that. This is a Rag and Bone Man. I mean, Kev.
I didn't get to cut the cake.
We'll do it now. But here's Calvin Harris and Rag and Bone Man.
Okay.
Music.
And it's time to cut the cake.
Radio for audio. This is IndieLive.radio. Unfortunately, we cannot legally live stream music. Tune in to IndieLive.radio for audio. This is IndieLive.radio. Unfortunately, we cannot legally live stream music. Tune in to IndieLive.radio for audio. This is IndieLive.radio. Unfortunately, we cannot legally live stream music. Tune in to IndieLive.radio for audio.
Black, it won't trigger.
Right, we're on, Kev. This is the last message we've got before we go. So, to everybody that's listening, thanks for contributing to the show. Thanks for listening.
Absolutely.
We've got what? 40 seconds left. What have we got to say?
Make sure you tell people about IndieLive.radio, get the iOS and Android app, and spread the word, please. Right?
And we'll be here to do it all over again on Wednesday at 11 o'clock till 2 o'clock. Join us then if you can. From me and Kev, it's a very goodbye from him.
Bye.
And it's a very goodbye from me. God bless you all and have a superb day. Bye for now.
Absolutely.
This is IndieLive.radio. Unfortunately, we cannot legally live stream music. Tune in to IndieLive.radio for audio. This is IndieLive.radio. Unfortunately, we cannot legally live stream music. Tune in to IndieLive.radio for audio. This is IndieLive.radio.